I'm Sue McMahon and I'm cookery editor of Women's Weekly magazine, and I'm going to show you how to make a steamed steak and mushroom pudding. You could do this as a steak and kidney pudding if you wanted to, and use some kidneys instead of the mushrooms. So the filling for this is really simple because everything just gets put into a bowl and mixed up. So I've got my beef, the onion, the mushrooms. The mushrooms may seem a little big at this stage, but they do shrink during cooking, which is why I haven't chopped them up at all. The thyme, the flour, which gets added to help thicken the juices, and then pepper and some salt. And then this all gets mixed so that the meat gets coated with the flour. So to make the pastry, I'm going to tip the flour and the suet into a bowl. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this. And I'm going to mix it up, and it normally takes about 150 millilitres of water, so I'll start off by adding most of it, but I'll leave a little in the jug in case it doesn't need it all. Okay, so this has come together into a dough now, so I can put it on the work surface, and I've dusted some flour onto the work surface. And I'm going to roll this out. And I keep lifting it and turning it to make sure that it hasn't stuck to the work surface. Okay, so that I think is going to be about the right size for my bowl, and the bowl is very well buttered to help release the pudding. And I'm going to cut out a quarter of the dough, and that will be saved to use for the lid. Now I'm going to take the rest of this dough and put it in the bowl, overlap the two cut edges just by a little amount, and press it really well to seal it, and then press it against the sides of the bowl. You can pull the dough up slightly to make it come right to the top rim of the bowl. So you can see it's a nice even coating inside the bowl, and that join where I cut the dough is well sealed. So now I'm going to put the filling inside the pie. So you want the filling to be as dense as possible. So that's filled the bowl nice and high. I'm going to add some Worcester sauce to the Guinness and pour that over the top. So that should give a nice rich dark gravy. And then the piece of the dough that I reserved, I'm going to roll this out for the lid. I'm going to brush some water over the top edge, and this helps to stick the lid onto the base. So I lift the lid over the top and press it down really well to seal it. If you want to, you can cut the excess dough away, but I don't like wasting anything and it tastes good, so I'm sort of folding it in. So that's the steam pudding. It's now ready for steaming, and to prepare it, what I'm going to do is cover it with some baking parchment, and I've cut a square of baking parchment, and I'm going to make a pleat in it. And I'm just going to cut away around, so it's just slightly bigger than the pudding basin. And then to seal it, I'm going to put some foil on the top. If you want to, you can tie around that with string, but I find it's normally secure enough just to have it folded over tightly like that. and then this is ready for steaming. Okay, so to steam the pudding, you need to have a nice lot of water in the base of the steamer. And whenever I'm steaming anything like these sort of puddings or Christmas pudding, I normally add some acid to the water in the bottom pan. I'm using some white wine vinegar here, but anything works, malt vinegar or lemon juice. What it does is it stops the lime scale building up on the pan as the water evaporates. So then I put my pudding in the top part of the steamer, cover it with the lid and put it on to steam. Now you need to make sure that it is steaming constantly and check regularly that the bottom pan doesn't run out of water. What I sometimes do is I'll set a kitchen timer for 30 minutes and then check every 30 minutes that it hasn't boiled dry, and I top it up as necessary with boiling water from a kettle. You don't want to be adding cold water to it because that will cool all the temperature. Make sure you always top it up with boiling water. And it needs to steam for about 3.5 to 4 hours. The time isn't exact, and if you're not quite ready to eat, then just leave it simmering on a low heat and it will keep the pudding warm. So when the pudding is finished steaming, you can take away the foil and the parchment. And you need to loosen around the edge. I normally use a small palette knife for this. Now I'm starting to put the palette knife down and ease it away from the side of the bowl. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, loosening the sides. So I'm going to tip it onto a plate, and I've made sure that I've chosen a plate that has a lip on it in case any of the juices run out. So I'm going to put that over the top and then turn the pudding over, and then I'm going to lift up the bowl. So that's my steak and mushroom pudding. So it doesn't look so good at the moment, but as soon as I cut into it, you'll see the nice rich filling in the centre of it. And you can see as soon as you start cutting into it, why you need to have it on a plate with a rim. This is really good served with some green steamed vegetables, such as green beans or cabbage. So this is my steak and mushroom pudding.